All right, we have some breaking news. Airbnb, the home rental sharing company, has now filed its IPO. It seeks to list on the NASDAQ under the ticker ABNB. And this is a highly anticipated listing, of course. We also get some financials on the company as a result of its listing. For instance, we've learned that in 2019, Airbnb posted revenue of $4.8 billion, a huge increase from $3.7 billion in 2018. For 2019, its gross booking value was about $38 billion, also an increase from 29.4 in 2018. In addition, we have learned that the bankers for this initial public offering include Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, and Allen & Co. There was a lot of discussion, Renita, that perhaps Airbnb might look for a hybrid listing, something that included direct listing in addition to the traditional IPO, but it's opted now for a traditional IPO. And what timing, right?
Right. And as far as we know, it's traditional right now, of course. And so it's not that hybrid. But as we know, they plan to go public back in September 2019. They plan to do this year. And as we can see, mission is accomplished. But the company, as we know, it had intended to file last Thursday, but didn't want to get caught up in the post-election news cycle. And they didn't want to be just sort of overshadowed by that. But as we know, Bloomberg's reporting that this exact timing is not necessarily suggestive or indicative of market demand. But this market condition, it really is very supportive for an IPO at this time, given the continued shift over travel companies during this time and other cyclicals that benefit from a recovering economy.
No, very well put. And one thing that's important here is that Airbnb obviously suffered along with all the other travel companies and companies that really rely on people spending money outside their homes in the first days after the lockdown. And in fact, Airbnb had mentioned that reservations dropped 70% from last year in May, and the company then had to lay off staff, about a quarter of its staff. By June, it started to see the beginnings of a turnaround here with bookings recovering, and it was only down about 30% versus the same time last year. Now, clearly, the way people use Airbnb has changed a lot. Back in the day, we used to all use Airbnb for cities that we're flying into because it was a better way to experience a city as opposed to booking a hotel. Now, people are using Airbnb to rent single-family homes in towns or countrysides that are close to their original homes, so within driving distance, so that people can kind of self-isolate and also work from this new location. So as a result, Airbnb redesigned its website. It changed its algorithms to show users housing options near their hometown zip code, as opposed to halfway around the world.
And you know what? It just makes perfect sense when we look at how household spending has changed over this pandemic. More people are saving now, which was a surprise. So it makes sense that areas or businesses like Airbnb have felt the effects of that. People are using their discretionary income in a different way. And so this is just one of the businesses that have seen another shift in how they operate during the pandemic.
Yeah, we also have some more information now. This is a 350-page document. It's called an S1. And so there's a lot of information to sift through here. And in addition to some of the financials that we've gotten on the most recent months, we've also learned that Airbnb reported a net loss of almost $700 million for the 9 months ended September 30th. That is actually a decrease from the same period a year ago. So things, again, are improving for Airbnb, but it is still a money-losing operation at the moment. At the time.
So it'll be interesting just to see how it'll change, as people start to become a little bit more comfortable with getting Airbnb. So thanks for that.
We will continue to monitor and bring you any other headlines here as we look over the Airbnb story.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quicktake now for insight in an instant.